All right, welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're rewinding back to 2006, a year that gave us some real gems in the world of film.
Oh, absolutely. 2006 was a good year for movies.
It really was. And one that might have slipped under your radar, but trust me, it's worth revisiting, is Monster House.
Monster House, huh? Okay, I'm intrigued.
Get ready for scares, laughs, and maybe even a little bit of heart-tugging, because this ain't your typical haunted house flick.
See, now you're speaking my language. I'm always down for a movie that can surprise you.
Oh, this one will.
Uh,
All right, so imagine this. You're 12 years old, it's the middle of summer, pure freedom, right? And across the street sits this Victorian mansion that just screams, "Stay away!"
okay, I've been that kid. We had the creepy house at the end of the street growing up. Nobody dared to go near it.
It's like a rite of passage almost, right? Well, that's the world DJ lives in, constantly butting heads with the drumpy old Mr. Nevercracker who owns the place.
Nah, the quintessential grumpy old neighbor. We've all known one.
Right. Always yelling at kids to get off their lawn. But here's where Monster House veers off the beaten path.
Yeah, because most houses don't actually growl at you when you walk by.
Exactly. This house doesn't just look creepy, it eats things. Basketballs, toys, lawnmowers, anything that gets too close disappears.
Okay, see, now that's taken it to a whole other level. You don't see that every day.
And remember, this was 2006. CGI animation was getting really good, but Monster House went with motion capture, which was still pretty cutting edge back then.
Oh, wow, motion capture back then. That's pretty ambitious.
Right. Instead of just drawing the characters, they had actors in these suits, so their movements would be translated onto the characters. Super realistic, even though the style is still, animated.
It's like a weird blend of live action and animation, right? You get that uncanny valley thing going on.
Exactly. And it adds this layer of eeriness that you just don't get with traditional animation. Like, if you're already a little creeped out by Mr. Nevercracker, imagine seeing his movements captured in such detail.
Oh, yeah, that would send chills down your spine, especially with someone like Steve Buscemi voicing him.
Oh man, talk about perfect casting. The guy is a master of playing characters who are both unsettling and oddly sympathetic.
He's got that voice, you know.
Hmm.
Makes you wonder what he's really thinking.
And it's perfect for Nevercracker because you're never quite sure if he's actually dangerous or just a grumpy old dude.
Keeps you on the edge of your seat, that's for sure.
And let's not forget the rest of the cast. Maggie Gyllenhaal voices Z, the cool babysitter.
Oh, I love her. She's fantastic.
And Jason Lee as Bones, her kind of clueless but lovable boyfriend. You can tell the filmmakers were going for something special.
He wasn't just some random voice cast thrown together, that's for sure.
Absolutely not. These actors bring their A game, and you can hear it in every line. They give these characters depth.
Which is saying a lot, because animated movies, as much as I love them, sometimes fall short in the character department.
So true. But not Monster House. So we've got this creepy house, groundbreaking animation, a top-notch voice cast. But what's the story really about? It all starts with DJ and his obsession with the house across the street.
Okay, so he's not just a little creeped out, he's full-on obsessed.
Oh, yeah. He's convinced it's alive, and honestly, it doesn't take much to convince the audience either. And this is where those Spielbergian elements come in.
Spielbergian, you mean like Goonies, E.T.?
Exactly. That blend of childhood wonder and genuine thrills where everything feels, bigger and scarier and more magical.
Okay, now I see it. It's that time in your life when everything feels possible, even the impossible.
And Monster House captures that feeling perfectly. Like, we're invested in DJ's suspicions because deep down, we all had that one house on our street.
Yeah, the one your parents told you to stay away from, that you swore was haunted.
Exactly. And remember DJ's logbook? He meticulously documents every creak and groan, every disappearing object, like he's building a case file for the paranormal.
Okay, that's dedication. He's really taking his investigative journalism to the next level.
Right. He's not messing around. But speaking of not messing around, we can't forget DJ's partners in crime, Chowder and Jenny.
Ah, the trusty sidekicks. You gotta have them.
Gotta have him, Chowder. Oh, Chowder, he's the hilarious best friend, always got a snack in his hand, cracking jokes, even when he's scared out of his mind.
So he's the comic relief, but he's also got a good heart, I'm guessing.
Oh, totally. They have that classic best friend dynamic.
Yeah.
Always there for each other, no matter what. And then there's Jenny.
The brains of the operation, I'm guessing.
You got it. She's skeptical, obviously, like any sensible person would be.
Thank goodness for a voice of reason.
Right. But she's also incredibly resourceful and brave when she needs to be. She's not just there to be rescued, which is so refreshing. You usually see that in these kind of movies, the girl's too scared to do anything.
Right, like she's just waiting for the guys to figure it out. Not Jenny, though. She's got her own agenda.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've got this trio facing down a house that seems to defy the laws of physics. But here's the thing. There's like a deeper story going on underneath all the spooky shenanigans.
Oh, there's always a deeper story, right? Especially when you're dealing with something as, well, as alive as this house seems to be.
Exactly. And it all circles back to Mr. Nevercracker. See, he might be more tragic figure than a straight-up villain. What do you think?
I'm all about a good redemption arc. Or at least, understanding the villain's motivations. What's his deal?
Well, that's where Constance comes in.
Constance? Who's that?
Nevercracker's late wife. And we find out she wasn't just someone he loved and lost. She was, like, literally the heart of the house. How crazy is that?
Whoa, hold on. Okay, now you've got my attention. The heart of the house, literally.
Literally. The movie reveals this whole backstory. So, Constance, due to her size, she was part of a circus sideshow. Like, exploited, mistreated, the whole 9 yards. And Nevercracker, he saw past all that, fell in love with her, helped her escape.
Wow, that's actually really beautiful.
It is, isn't it? But then, tragedy strikes, she dies in an accident, and he builds the house around the carnival tent where they fell in love. Talk about symbolism, right?
Oh, man, that's heavy. So all those years of him scaring kids away, it wasn't just him being mean, he was.
Protecting them.
Exactly. Protecting them from the grief and rage that had, consumed him in the house. He's carrying all this weight, unable to move on.
It's actually a really powerful message about grief and how it can manifest in, well, unhealthy ways. And for a kid's movie, Monster House handles it with such care, It doesn't shy away from the tough stuff, but it doesn't dwell on it either.
And that's a tough balance to strike, especially with a movie that's also got, a giant chomping house in it.
Totally.
Yeah.
But that's the genius of it, right? It works on multiple levels. Kids get the spooky adventure, the slapstick humor. Adults pick up on the deeper themes of loss, regret, letting go.
It's like a twisted fairy tale, but with a good message.
Exactly. And speaking of twisted, we have to talk about that climax. The house literally rips itself from its foundation and chases the kids through town. It's bonkers.
I've seen it, and it still blows my mind every time. It's pure animated chaos in the best way possible.
Pure chaos. But even in those moments of absolute mayhem, the film never loses sight of its heart. And that heart lies in that relationship between DJ, Chowder, and Jenny. They're facing their fears head-on, supporting each other, challenging each other every step of the way.
It really shows the power of friendship, especially when you're facing something as big and scary as, well, a monster house.
100%. And it shows that even though they're just kids, they're capable of incredible empathy and courage.
It's true. They risk their necks to save this grumpy old man who's been nothing but a terror, and in doing so, they help him find peace.
And they probably saved the whole neighborhood while they were at it, let's be real.
Oh, for sure. But that's what gets me about Monster House. Underneath the spooky visuals, the crazy action, it's a story about connection, about understanding. It's a reminder that everyone, even the people we think we've got figured out, has a story.
So well said. And critics definitely noticed, because Monster House was nominated for an Academy Award, Best Animated Feature.
Wow, an Oscar nod. That's huge.
It is. And it was well-deserved because this movie pushed the boundaries of animation, technically and story-wise.
It proved that animation can be more than just entertainment. It can make you feel things, really make you think.
100%. I mean, think about it. How many animated movies from that time period can you still remember? And not just remember, but really connect with.
Monster House sticks with you.
It does, because it wasn't afraid to be different. It had scares, it had laughs, it had heart. It was a whole experience.
And that's the mark of a great movie. It stays with you long after you've seen it.
Revisiting Monster House for this deep dive has been a blast. I'd forgotten how much I love this movie.
Me too. It's one of those films that works on so many levels.
What were your, biggest takeaways from revisiting it?
I think it's the way it blends humor and heart so seamlessly. It never feels forced or sappy. It earns its emotional moments.
Couldn't have put it better myself. And for our listeners, we want to hear from you. Did you see Monster House back in the day? What are your thoughts on it now? Head to the comments and let us know. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell a friend about the show. We'll see you next time for another deep dive into the movies we love.